Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, November the 10th, 2021. And this is Dr. Mary Seegers with Wisdom Wednesday podcast. Today, I am so excited that we have two experts in the real estate marketing field and mortgage expert so that they can tell the general public what kind of market we're going through right now. It's a little different. So if you're looking to buy, sell, rent, invest, you need to listen to these experts so they can tell you exactly what's going on. They have their finger on the pulse and they know exactly what's going on. Let me just introduce my guest. I want to welcome you officially. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Having me.
all righty. First, let me introduce Charvez Miles. He has over 20 years experience in real estate that vary from landlord to sales agent to broker. Chavez is now the broker owner of his own company, C. Miles Realty, a boutique brokerage with 12 successful agents that are responsible for millions of dollars in sales and satisfied homeowners every year. The company's focus is not only recruiting as many agents as possible, but rather focusing on the success of the agents. And that's crucial. That's very important. And the satisfaction of their clients by patiently walking them through the process of home ownership and ensuring they have a memorable, painless experience. That is so awesome. So just tell us a little bit more about your company and what you can do for those clients out there. And then we'll introduce Mr. Rob Johnson next.
All right. All right. So like you said, my name is Charvez Miles. I'm the owner of C. Miles Realty. I started real estate officially in 2008 when the market was going down. I got my license. In that year, I worked hard under a small Black-owned company, RPR Real Estate, which I loved. And then in 2016, I transitioned to my own company. And now, like I said, we have 12 agents that work for us, and we're focusing on customer satisfaction and really helping people to be able to take advantage of the home buying experience. Our focus is on trying to really educate them and help as many people as possible to build up some financial freedom, some longevity, and some stability in these communities by putting them in homes.
Awesome. So just hold tight there. We're going to go right over next to Mr. Rob Johnson. Why don't you tell the audience about yourself and what you service and what you do?
Hello, everybody. I'm the owner of Real Estate Title Agency. We're located in Southfield, Michigan. I've been in business since about 25 years. I did 15 years. I did mortgages. The last 10 years, I've been doing the title services. We specialize, in trade properties, investment properties. We deal with a lot of clients in Europe, so we're well diverse on the aspect of doing quiet title and tax title and any other transactions. So we're well diverse and well experienced title firm, and we do have a partner that's national recognition, and we can do title work anywhere in the country. So it's a beautiful thing that we can do loans in Florida and Texas and California, and we have the flexibility. So with our staff, we can do an excellent job. So
Awesome. Awesome. And that's so important for a person that's looking for the complete package,
Yeah.
They want to go from the home searching to the home ownership, right? So what do you consider yourself, Mr. Miles, more of a listing agent or brokerage or would you prefer yourself as a buyer's agent brokerage?
We do both. We do both. I don't have a preference or a specialty. I'm a sales agent, and I'm a person that helps take care of whatever the need may be when it comes to real estate. We currently have a number of listings all over the Metro Detroit area, and we have worked with many buyers this year, helping them to purchase. So I can't really say that I prefer one or the other. My goal is just to help out in whichever capacity we can.
Okay. And what would you explain? Could you explain to the general public, Mr. Johnson, what is the current real estate market? I mean, people say, oh, it's crazy out there. So give it to us in layman's terms. So what is going on out there?
Well, our biggest challenge right now is our underwriters, they don't like people quit claiming properties. That's is a huge red flag in my world. So if there's 3 quit claim deeds on the properties, we're told not to insure it. So there's a lot of education that we do to our realtors to bring them up to speed, but where our problems are, so they can help us protect each other. We do validate notaries now. So, in the past, we didn't validate notaries, but now it's a requirement that we validate notaries on all the deeds. So it's very prevalent that the realtors know that what we're experiencing on the title end, so they can help themselves out on the field. But overall, the markets houses are moving fast. I mean, title work come in on Monday. The house is sold on Wednesday. So I don't say the market's is soft, but it's really, really, really active. So we've been having really good, amazing months. A lot of regular buying and selling. It's not a lot of investment properties like it has in the past, but it's been regular buyer, regular seller on properties now. There's little investment properties, but the biggest thing right now is the quit claim deeds. It's come a problem in the past, and there's a lot of underwriters have put a lot of things in place to stop all the fraudulent activity. So that's just things that we need to, I have a class that I teach realtors, about how to review quit claim deeds, how to what to look for on transactions, make sure they're not being scammed, because there's still a lot of scam artists out there. So that's my biggest concern right now.
Oh, awesome. What about for you, Mr. Miles?
So when it comes to the market, everyone wants to know the most the question that we get asked the most is it a buyer's or a seller's market? And yes, it is a seller's market. They want to know, what does that mean? And basically what it means is when we were in quarantine for those 2 months, everybody sat in the house and they watched HGTV and they got comfortable in their space, or either they didn't like their space. And when we came out of quarantine, the real estate market exploded. And everyone came out basically wanting to buy a house, wanting to change their location, their residence, their address, get more space, get everything that they've been watching. And that is what caused a shortage in property. And that's also what turned it into a seller's market. You had the demand for people wanting to buy houses. Then you also had the normal amount of people who would normally sell every year didn't sell because of the uncertainty of the economy, the uncertainty of the virus. And so now you have all these people on this hand who want to buy, and only so many people are selling. And so, of course, that caused that demand and that property shortage, which turned it into a seller's market. Yeah. Then the second question is, because it's a seller's market, should we still buy? Is it time to buy? And the answer is yes. It's always a good time to get into real estate, to invest in real estate and into your future. Yes, the property prices are a little bit higher, but the interest rates are lower. Yeah. And with the normal economic growth, real estate is always going to appreciate. And so it's always, although the prices are a little higher, although it is a seller's market, it's still a good time to purchase real estate and invest in your future.
That home ownership, the dream of owning your own home can be a reality, even in this market, is what you're saying, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Correct.
You just mentioned about the mortgage rates are so low. What are I think they're like 3% or 4%, depending on your, on your ratings, whatever.
I think they're about 2.5 to 3.5%.
Wow. Okay.
So if you got a rate over 3.5%, that's extremely high.
Wow.
And so I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, go ahead, Mr. Miles.
I was going to say, and so to put that into perspective, when I purchased my first home in, I think it was 2001, interest rates were like 6.875. I have an uncle that told me that when he purchased his home in the 70s, the interest rate was like 17%.
Double digit.
So now, with these rates so low, what that means is you can purchase more home for less the price, or at least less the monthly payment.
Right. Wow. So what would you encourage people who are out there looking to buy a home, and there's 20 people putting a bid on that home? as the title work, Mr. Johnson, what have you seen? How have you seen that work out? I mean, it's just been crazy. It's been a crazy market like that.
No, I don't experience as much as I get to deal when everybody, all the negotiations been done. But
That's true.
I hear my realtors complain that, conventional wins most of the battles, cash and conventional wins most of the battles.
Absolutely.
People have a hard time getting FHA approved or getting FHA mortgages accepted by the seller.
Mhm.
But you got to go in pretty strong. You got to go in once you find something that you like. You have to have a really strong competitive offer, because you lose. So again, like you said, it's a seller's market, so you got to really be aggressive on your offers.
Yes. So no concessions for the buyers, right? Mr.
Oh,
Those days are long gone.
very rare. We've been seeing a lot of land contracts lately because people can't get proper financing.
Okay.
We've been seeing a lot of land contracts with huge down payments
Mm.
come through the office. So I
Wow.
see a lot of land contracts come through.
Yeah.
And then you just got to have aggressive offers.
Yeah, I agree. You were gonna comment on that, Mr.
Yeah,
Miles?
I was definitely gonna agree to, yeah, you have to be aggressive.
Mhm.
You have to work with, of course, one of the C Miles Realty agents so that we can coach you into how to make an aggressive offer. And there are a number of things that a person can do to make their offer more appealing to the seller. The seller may have all of these offers sitting in front of them, and what they're trying to do, they don't know us. They don't know you. They're just trying to look at all this paperwork and see which one is going to be the best fit. So there are a number of things that we can do that can make the offer more appealing and things that the sellers are going to be looking for. And so, yeah, you got to jump out there. You got to be ready to be aggressive. You got to be ready to go out and get what you want. But you asked about concessions. It's not a lot of concessions going on, but
Yeah.
there are still some properties that you can get concessions on. But of course, these may not be the ones that are fresh to the market,
Mhm.
but there are always properties that may have been sitting a little bit longer than the seller thought they would. And those are the ones that they're going to be a little bit more flexible, and a little bit more negotiable on. And that's why you need to contact us so we can kind of steer you in that direction. Because if you have to have concessions, we can make it happen. It's just a different mindset that you need to have, and a different set of properties that you may need to look at.
Okay. What about when they put an offer in and they go way beyond the asking price, what they're selling it for? And then when the appraisal comes back and it's not quite, do they put the appraisal clause in there so that they can kind of still keep that deal going? I was trying to get an appraiser on the show, but she wasn't available. But any insight on that? Either of you guys can answer that.
That's more of a Mr. Miles
Yeah,
question.
So,
yeah, you get the deal after it's negotiated.
so as we had already discussed, with the explosion of the real estate market came different techniques and different ways to make your offer stand out. And one of those ways was what's called an appraisal gap, an appraisal guarantee. And what that means is, I'm going to make you an offer that's over asking price. In a previous market, if it only came in at asking price, or whatever it came in at is what the seller had to take. But in this new market, if you have a property and I'm going to offer you 5,000 or 10,000 over the asking price, I'm going to put up money out of my own pocket that says that I will cover the difference up to this amount. And so that's what was happening. There was a lot of that going on in the summer. There's still some of it going on right now. And that's what has won a lot of these offers. Whereas people would actually say, okay, I'll give you this extra dollar amount out of my own pocket in addition to my closing costs, to guarantee that you get the price that I said that I would give you for this property.
Wow. That's like unheard of before, right? I mean, we never had that kind of bidding war going on.
It was unheard of before, but it's one of those things where people really wanted the property, and they really were willing to put their money up to get that property. But again, with the interest rates being lower, they were able to, once they got the property secured, they were able to get it at a more affordable payment.
That's true.
As well as with some of the programs that were out over this past summer, they were able to get some down payment assistance. So they were to couple that with the cash they had. So it was a lot of stuff, but it was a very, very active market this summer.
Wow. Mr. Johnson, can you share the importance of having the title work complete, and explain to the general public what the title work, make sure it's a clear title. Can you expound a little bit about that?
All right, and title work is basically is providing you clean title to the property. When I say title work, so you don't have any liens, IRS liens, tax liens, no judgments, no divorce proceedings on the property. Bankruptcy's been an issue lately because, bankruptcy can actually, if somebody filed bankruptcy and they sell a house and they're still in bankruptcy, the house is tied up. So there's a lot of things that we do to make sure that the buyer gets the property free and clear with no liens besides their mortgage or the existing lien they got the loan for. So title works really just is pretty much a security package for the buyer. So because you want to purchase a property with no interest, nobody's else interest on the property. So it's really hard to explain because we do so much back end work, and we're like the back end of the realtor. So the realtor is the front end of the negotiation. We're kind of person in the back end doing all the work, make sure that you provide a good they provide a good product, and that the product is insurable, and that we're transferring interest from one party to the next party, and there's no gaps or no legal issues or concerns that the new buyer will have. So we're kind of like on the back end of the transaction until you come to closing. Most of our realtors are the front end of the transaction. There are voices. Sometimes they'll call us directly when they have a concern, but realty, our real customer is the realtor versus consumer, but we're always here to help.
I had a client that wanted to just check on some property and title work. So you don't necessarily have to purchase a home to do a title search. Is that correct?
Right. No, you don't have to purchase a home to get. I mean, it's $250 just to do a title search if you just want to find who owns the property or if there's any liens on the property. So we provide that service, but it's $250. But it takes about 3 days. If you have a property in the city, Detroit, or in the suburbs, you want to find who owns it. If there's taxes or liens on the property, we provide a title search for $250. But yeah, it can be done.
That's a great service to offer. Yes. So we survived that 2008, 2009, that mortgage crash. Remember that, Mr. Miles? And that's when you said when you started your real estate endeavor. So what's different between that one and this? Well, I don't want to call it a crash, but it's certainly a different market right now. But there's not that many homes available, so the sellers can kind of price. They said we got low inventory as far as good quality homes. So what's the difference between that incident in 2008 versus what we're going through now?
Just doing some of the research back then, what had happened is that some of the lenders had got a little more lax with their lending requirements and their lending practices. And so now, since 2008 going forward, things have become a little bit more strict when it comes to what they're requiring, what they're requesting, what you need. Of course, you're going to have your proof of income, proof of taxes, proof of the money that you have to close. So they put forth, I should say, some more stricter requirements to try to prevent just giving away houses to anyone or just giving away multiple mortgages to anyone. And so some of those things are put in place, although it may be a little bit tedious, although it may be somewhat of a headache when you're going through the buying process. Those things are there to try to keep the market stable and keep from some of the things that happened back in 2008.
Wow. Yeah.
My biggest thing on 2008, the lenders stopped lending. The lenders didn't want to lend anymore. Now they want to lend. So there's a huge difference between 2008 and today's market. The market is really dictated because there's not a lot of product on the market, not because the lenders don't want to lend. In 2008, the lenders didn't want to lend. So they just, they didn't want to give you money out because they're taking so many losses and foreclosures. But the biggest difference, in my opinion, is that the lenders want to lend now. The rates are low and the lenders want to lend. They want to give the money. They want to give mortgages out to the consumers. In 2008, 2009, they didn't want to lend. They really, some banks went out of business because they stopped lending. So I think that's the biggest difference between 2008 and current is that the banks, they want to lend. They want to give you the money. So, there's so many mortgage companies out there and brokers are coming very popular again. That's why United Wholesales is having record months, and Rocket Mortgage is having record months, because there's so many brokers out there,
Right.
like in 06 and 07, that it's fruitful. So, you know, in 08, 09, they got rid of all the brokers. You know, they got rid of, Michigan went down to like 110 brokers out of like 900. So
Wow.
the biggest difference is that the lender, they want to give money out. They want to loan money. They want people to buy houses. In 08, 09, all the banks were closing. They were stopping lending capacity. So that's the biggest difference. And the market is just, there's not a lot of product on the market, so it's a bid war. They don't have lending issues. I mean, almost you can get a mortgage almost anywhere nowadays.
And with the interest rate so low, it's just,
Rates
that's
have
a given,
gorgeous.
right? Yes,
3.5% is a high rate. I mean, just it's insane, which is good. It's good for consumers.
it is good. You can't keep enough agents, probably. You got so many deals out there, right? Mr. Miles, you said you had 12.
We're definitely staying busy. We're definitely staying busy.
Mhm.
The majority of the agents are definitely staying busy, are definitely successful. They have plenty of clients to work with right now. Like the inventory is starting to taper off a little bit, so it's starting to become a little bit more level than it was this summer.
Yeah.
This summer, I mean, every property hit the market was multiple offers, but now we're starting to get a little bit more inventory. Although we're going into the end of the year where things would normally slow down, we'll kind of see how this winter does for us. But right now, we're still kicking.
You don't see very many foreclosures now like we did back in, 2008 and 9. There's not that many foreclosures going on now,
Well,
right?
banks don't foreclose anymore. I mean, that, we used to get a foreclosure list, years ago, but the
Mhm.
banks stopped foreclosing. So it's not that, the banks realize that they lose money if they foreclose on property. So they took so now they just work with consumers. I mean, when COVID hit, I mean, you can skip a year of payments, during
Right.
COVID, so the
Right.
lenders found out that it was beneficial for them not to foreclose on properties
Mhm.
unless it's just they have to. So you don't see a lot of foreclosures. I think that market is going to be little to none, because the banks realize it brings no value in foreclosing a property, because after they foreclose it takes a year, and then you got to put the house on the market and probably not in good shape, so you got to take less. So
Right.
it's more of a strain on them. So they
Mhm.
found out it's just best just to work with the consumer.
Sounds like a good plan. What about you were saying it's slowing down because that's the typical time, November and October, they say let's wait till the spring. So what are you anticipating for the spring of 2022 as you look forecasting the future here?
So I anticipate steady market growth. Things still continue to be consistent. Normally in the spring, that's when the market opens back up. Usually things slow down around holiday time as people switch their focus between now, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and then right after tax time, right around 1st of March, when that weather breaks,
Right.
that's when usually the real estate market opens up. And so I anticipate steady growth, increasing in values as it normally does,
Mhm.
as well as hopefully more inventory, because as things hopefully get better with the virus, people will start to feel a little bit more comfortable, and we'll start to get more of those sellers who would normally make that transition in the spring or the summertime. So that'll hopefully open up more inventory for all of us.
And with COVID still somewhat here, we're hoping one day that it'll be dissipate. But in the meanwhile, how are you seeing buyers going into homes where where they've got to view the home, or they just put an offer on homes that they haven't actually looked at other than online? Have you seen a lot of that, or?
That was something that was happening right when we came out of quarantine, or actually even during quarantine, because there wasn't a lot of showing going on during that time. But
Mhm.
now we usually take our regular precautions. We usually wear masks, and then we're still doing normal showings. Some people have started back up doing open houses, just trying to limit the amount of people, just trying to spread everybody out. But no, it's not a whole lot of sight unseen offers, because we have the ability to go back in and walk through the houses and actually, see what's going on.
Yes. And probably the appraisal, I remember when they do the drive-by appraisals, because they weren't allowing people to come in. So I think they're doing a little more of in-house, going right directly into the house to do a proper appraisals. Have you seen that or?
Yeah, most of the appraisals are back to normal. Every now and then you'll get a drive-by appraisal. You'll get a email that says, "Hey, the appraisal's been done," but we never got a notification that they went. But I would say about 85 to 90% of appraisals are back to doing it the normal way.
Yes. And are the appraisals coming back at the prices that the buyers are willing to pay for it? I mean, I know you talked a little bit about, buyers coming prepared to bring extra money to the table, to the closing table. But are the appraisals coming up to that level or what?
In most cases, yeah. In most cases, the appraisals are coming in right where the market is demanding.
Mhm.
So it just depends on where you are, what area you in. But I haven't had, I have some where they actually have to pay that gap. It just depends on how much they're willing to offer over the price. But a lot of times the appraisal is going to be right within whatever that listing price was and right where that asking price was, somewhere right in that middle where it could be right on with how much they're willing to pay, or it may be somewhere in the middle between what they listed for and what they actually offer.
Okay. What about commercial property? Are you specialize only in residential or do you do vacant lands, or commercial property?
I do more residential, but I have done commercial. I've done some deals with some important people in downtown Detroit. I've done some all types of commercial deals where I've sold buildings, I've sold lots, all types of anything that comes in the realm of real estate within Michigan. I'm capable and able to do and probably have done at least a few deals here and there.
Okay. And what about the title work for commercial property? Is much different or pretty much the same process?
It's pretty much the same. It goes in. We send it to a different abstractor because it's a little more detailed work, but it's still the same process. I mean, it doesn't change in our world if it's residential or commercial. Again, we have a little more abstract work, but in general, it's just pretty much the same. So there's a couple other documents you got to sign at closing, but in general, like I said, it's residential, commercial it doesn't change much for us. I mean, we just do the same background check. We go back on 40 years on the commercial property versus 30 years on the residential property. So there's small changes, but only thing different is if it's acres, I think it's lots, and like I do city Detroit business, and they want to do charges $4,000 for abstract work because they had 20 lots. So the bigger the property, the bigger the cost. So you just got to be aware of that. That's all.
Wow.
But my world hasn't really changed.
Yes. I am so excited. I know the audience have learned a lot about the process now. And how can they, I want you each to tell, how can people get in touch with you? How can they how can they reach out to you? How can they do business with you? So we'll start with Mr. Johnson. You want to share that information, how people can get in touch with you? And
absolutely. Real estate title agency is located on 12 Mile and Telegraph in Southfield, Michigan. Our address is 29777 Telegraph Road, Suite 2425 in Southfield, Michigan. My cell number is probably the best way to get hold of me is 248-880-8861. I do have an office number and I don't call that much. So area code 248-849-0401. We do have multiple closers. We do close at home still. So we're closing at people's house. So we close on Saturdays. We close up to 9 p.m. on weekdays. So we're really busy. Just give us a call if you have a chance.
Wow, so you provide great service. I mean, your Saturdays and that's important.
Today's age, you got to, you got to be flexible on location time. So yesterday I was at 7 o'clock closing. So you gotta be committed, So when you're committed, you make things happen.
Thank you so much. And what about for you, Mr. Miles?
You can reach me at 313-912-6694, cmilesrealty.com, on Facebook, C Miles Realty, on Instagram, C Miles Realty.
All right. So audience land, podcast land, if you're looking for a home, if you're looking to work with some professional people and expert people from the beginning to the end. Reach out to these guys, and I know they will take care of you. You know,
Awesome.
next week we're going to have some more realtors on. In fact, I was just sharing with Mr. Miles. Today was the guys. Next week is going to be all the ladies. So it worked out that way. But truly, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule just to share your information and let people know you're available to help them and to assist them and to help them to be homeowners. So again, I thank you for your time. And you have any last parting words you want to share? I will start with you first, Mr. Miles, and then we'll go back to you, Mr. Johnson. So any parting words you want to share to potential customers and or your current customers, tell them a little bit more how they can, what you can do for them.
Well, thanks again for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. And like I said, it's always a good time to purchase. Although it is a seller's market, real estate is an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your future. This is something that you may have for the next 30 years, or you may pass down to your children, or you may even only have it for a few years, but use that equity to move on to the next step in your life. So this is something that I love doing. I love seeing people to be able to move up in their life, in their status, or even just use that home and say, hey, I can look at that home and show my son and my children, I sold that home 20 years ago and they're still there. So yeah, real estate is definitely gonna always be a viable investment. I encourage everybody to start to think about home ownership and give us a call so that we can help you make that come true if you haven't already.
Awesome. Thank you. And Mr. Johnson.
Mary, thanks for having me. Only thing I can say is really trust your realtor. I mean, you hire them for a reason. Ask questions, ask concerns, because they're here to help you. So I have a lot of clients that call the office and we send them back to the realtor because you need to trust your realtor. They're here to guide you. Their job is to make sure you're successful. So I always say, leaving this event, I just say just trust your realtor, and ask questions.
Thank you again, gentlemen. Have a wonderful day. And remember, Wisdom Wednesday, where you share a little wisdom nugget of everyday life. So have a blessed day. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.